This happened to me in September 2022. I was driving solo through the Northern Territory, heading from Catherine down towards Alice Springs. I had a work break and I thought it'd be a good time for a road trip. Looking back, it was probably one of the dumbest ideas I've ever had. For anyone who doesn't know, the Outback isn't like driving country roads. It just keeps going. Hours of nothing but red dirt and scrub, and the kind of silence that doesn't feel right. On a trip like this, you can drive for hours, hundreds of kilometers, and not see a single other human being. This didn't matter though, I thought. I had my Spotify playing, and the music would keep me company. 2 hours into my 12.5-hour drive though, the reception cut out, and I realized I hadn't downloaded anything. By the time the sun was setting, I'd been on the road for 7 hours since the last town. I remember thinking I should have stopped, because everyone says don't drive out here at night. Too many roos, cattle, even camels. But I saw a sign for petrol about an hour back, and the Hilux was running low. I told myself I'd make it. That's when something pale flashed across the road in front of me. I slammed the brakes, heart in my throat, dust everywhere. But when it cleared, there was nothing. No roo, no cattle, just the highway, empty. That's when the silence changed. It's hard to explain, but it felt thicker, heavier. Cautiously, I started driving again, surrounded by that thick silence. I was honestly starting to panic, and then I saw it. A roadhouse, lit up by a single buzzing green sign. I pulled in, thinking I'd finally caught a break. The place looked abandoned. One Bowser, peeling paint, and the office dark except for a fridge humming inside. No attendant, no cars, just moths slamming themselves into the light like they wanted to die. I filled up quick and then went inside. The front door had one of those tiny bells attached to the top of it, so when I pushed it open, it rang out. I called out, "Hello?" but I got no answer. Just the faint sound of something dragging across corrugated iron in the back. I froze. I listened. And then silence again. When I turned back, the door I'd come through was closed. I swear I left it open. I opened it and the bell rang again and I stepped outside. And that's when I saw it. At first, I thought it was a person. Tall, thin, standing just outside the light of the petrol station. But the closer I looked, the more wrong it was. Skin white like gum bark, joints that were too sharp, hair hanging in filthy clumps, and the eyes pale, glowing almost, like wildlife caught in your high beams. My nan used to talk about things she called mimics, bush spirits that waited in the silence until you noticed. The second I thought of that, this thing grinned. A long, yellow-toothed grin that stretched too far. I was frozen. And then I bolted. Jumped in my Hilux, turned the key and peeled out so fast gravel spat everywhere. I didn't look back until I was on the highway again. I drove and drove and drove. It could have been minutes, it could have been hours. I lost track. My hands were glued to the steering wheel. My eyes were glued to the road, unblinking. But at some point I realized the silence had followed me. There were no crickets, no birds, nothing. Just the sound of my engine, my breathing, and something else. A whisper. At first, it sounded like wind through a hollow log, but then I realized it was dragging my name out, over and over. I drove until my eyes stung. until I couldn't keep going. I pulled into a rest stop, a busted old picnic table, a bin rusted through. I reclined the seat, telling myself I was safe. I'd driven far enough. But sometime after midnight, I woke up. The Hilux's windows were fogged from the inside. And then came that scraping sound. Long nails against the metal. And then the whisper again. Louder this time, filling my head with flashes. Images of bones bleaching in the sun, skin splitting, mouths open but no sound coming out. I was frozen in place. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, I got the courage to turn my head, and when I did, I saw a hand pressed against the glass. Long fingers, nails cracked and bleeding. Definitely not human. I started the engine and floored it, tearing down the track and back to the highway. I didn't see it chase me, but the shadows didn't look right. Trees bent the wrong way. Every shape, every silhouette in the moonlight looked like it was trying to step closer to me. I didn't even try going back to sleep again that night. I just kept driving. By dawn, the world came back. I never thought I'd be so happy to hear the sound of crows and bugs, but these were signs of life that I'd so desperately missed the night before. I started crying and then I started laughing, just from the relief. As the sun left the horizon and slowly made its way up the sky, I saw a building in the distance. As I drove closer, I realized it was the same petrol station from the night before. My heart dropped. Cautiously, I pulled in, parked, and walked inside. That same tiny bell rang out through the empty store. Everything was silent for a moment, and then...
"Good morning, mate. You're up early."
I'd never been so relieved to see another person. That was September 2022. I'll never drive that stretch of road again, at least not by myself. My dad was right. The Outback isn't empty. It's watching. And sometimes it follows you.